Du warst mir viel zu lange ein Dorn im Auge, Avatar. Deine beiden Welten werden zerschlagen. Zuerst Britannia, dann die Erde. Ich werde dich vor ihrem roberten Völkern als das gefallene Idol eines erbärmlichen Ideals rühmen. Ich verbanne dich in die Welt der Heiden. Niemand hier kennt den Avatar. Olisiko se hirvittävää? Kukakohan dubannut saksaksi Guardiania? Onkohan niitä dubattu ylipäätään? Olisiko mulla aika hirveä? Olisi varmaan aika hirveä. Minun nimeni on Mauri. Ainakin tässä on hitusen parempi fontti ehkä. Ehkä. Let's do this. Let's go. Hello there. Kato, Obi-Wan Kenobi. Who are you? I am Devon, my strange friend, and I'm glad to see you are feeling better, Maury. Mistä vittu sä tiedät mun nimen? How do you know my name? I'm sorry, I did not mean to pry, but when I found you, I know not who you were. I'm afraid I read through your logbook and discovered your name. Please forgive me. Eikä dialogit mene itsestään. Pitää varmaan laittaa... Noit saa varmaan jotakin säädettyä, miten ne menee. I hope. Nyt toki kestää ihan hillittömän kauan vai? Where am I? Why on the shore, friend? Saved now and thankfully alive. Shore of what? Shore of what? Why the shore of Tenebrae upon the Sea of Rains? Tenebrae? Aye, Tenebrae, the city of eternal twilight. They say you'll never find a more lovely place, and I do not disagree, save for one place. But I will say this. Get on with it! Herra Jumala, jatka! Get on with it! The farther I am from the lady, the better I feel. I can tell by your questions that you are not from this land. Come you from another island? Sitä voi klikata. Click. Click. Or perhaps some place that is an even greater distance away. What is the lovelier place? Why, the open sea, of course. I can think of nothing more reassuring than the smell of the salt and the feel of a taut net as it fills with fish. And the weather, I hear others complain it is as fickle as the lady, but I know no such thing. I can think of no day on the sea when the sky was not clear and the waves as gentle as a baby's hand. Who is the lady? You mean the Lady Mordea, my friend. She is Tempest and ruler of the city. Others call her a tyrant in whispered corners, though I held no opinion myself. Until recently, that is. Hello there. What is a Tempest? Indeed, you ask unusual questions. However, I know so little about them myself. In town you might find others who can offer you so much more assistance. What happened to me? I'm unsure, my friend. All I know is that I found your waterlogged body in the depths of the Lurker's domain. What happened before remains a mystery. I put in my nets and within one I discovered you. The Lurker's domain? Aye, this is what we sometimes call the sea. You were drowning in it, my friend. A fate twice bad to be certain. Twice bad? Aye, not only would it have meant death for you, but then you would have been doomed to walk the ocean floor, unable to fulfill the pact with Lithus. Okay. What pact? Ages ago our people forged a covenant with Lithus. If he would still the shaking earth, we would commend to him our deed at the time of their passing. Who is Lithus? We call him the Mountain King. He rules the grass, the stones, the hills, all that we walk upon. He also rules death. Commend to him? Though through his necromancers Lithus takes the dead to serve him for the remainder of their existence. Who are the necromancers? I am amazed at how little you know, friend. The necromancers are the keepers of the cemetery. They have the rather distasteful duty of burying the dead, thus honoring the pact and sending the deed to Lithus. Tää niinku skippas monta dialogia tuossa välissä. Menikö Kärmessari läpi? Juu, meni just vähän aika takaperin. Joo, no jos nyt edes jotain, niin musa edes ihan ok. Jota käyttänyt sitä Rolandin emulaatioa. En tiedä, onko sitä mistään kotoisin. Tulee ainakin sitä sit kuunneltua. Oikeesti Mauri, kun laulut äsken sitä Bacanana biisiä, niin mulle tuli mieleen sitä vanha Frederikin kappale. Et saisi jäädä tähän Hafafanana. Hafanana. Oh, I'm sorry, I thought you were still speaking to me. Aina ruppee vittuilemaan, se olisi niinku... Farewell, friend Mori, and good luck. You are welcome to stay with me for as long as you need. My food and provisions are yours until you wish to head to the city. And be careful in your travels, for I fear you will encounter much violence. I can already see a crowd gathering there on the docks. That can mean only trouble. Text speech. Onks nyt 0 niinku helvetin nopea, vai onks 9 sit helvetin nopea? Klik. Mä mieluummin varmaan menisin semmoista, että se niinku klikkaamalla niinku tekee... Kuinka nopea sä nyt juttelet? Hello Devon. Good day. What should I do? Well, I suppose now that you're better usually... But in Tenebrae... There is a wealth of activities and information for a soul such as yourself. Why, I know just a person there who can help you when you get to town. Visit Bentic in the library in East Tenebrae. The good sage knows practically all there is to know about our land and its people. Yes, he can certainly help you. Bentikki. Okei. Eli... Vittu, että saa pitkät tallennuksen nimet. Hei! Hienoa. Niin, tosiaan. Mulle tuli mieleen vanha Frederikin kappale, että saisi jäädä tähän. Hafanana. Tää kuume polte veren chalalalla. Ei saisi tähän jäädä tähän Hafanana. Ei tuu kyllä äkkiseltään mieleen. Parempi, että tästä pelistä löytyy Captain John's Hornpipe-biisi. Ai jumalauta, löytyykö? Sittenhän tää on bestest game ever. Missasin perkele kärmeksen läpäisyn. No juu, sä joudut ikävä kyllä nyt sen katsomaan tuolta. Nauhoit teistä. Et mitään menettänyt, siinä oli melkein tunnin verran jumitettiin yhden satan putselen kanssa, kun ei yksi vitun illuusio seinä. Teki mulle kiusaa koko vitun loppupätkä. Sitten menikin aika 1-1 melkein. Melkein 1-1. Mut et kyllä kovin paljon missannut. Tämä peli toimii ainoastaan hiirellä. Miten tässä siis pelissä hypättiin? Okei. Osaaks tehdä pikkuhypy? Paikallaan. Okei. Tää tulee olemaan hirvittävää. Tää tulee ihan oikeesti olemaan ihan vitun hirvittävää. Mulla on sellainen fiilis, että tää tulee oikeesti olemaan ihan vitun hirvittävää. Meni heti parhaaksi ultimaksi, kun tallennuksille saa pitkät nimet. Joo. Ei uskalla hyppää järveen kuitenkaan. Hei, silloin kun mä säädin tätä, mä hyppäsin heti ensimmäisenä järveen. Let's do this. No kyllä sä nyt sinne haluat mennä. No voi vitun avataari. Hyppää. No vittu kävellään sit.
Plumpsis.
Here lies the Avatar. Rest in peace. Doomo. Noniin. Ultima 8 läpi. Se oli siinä. GG. Ei muuta kuin sit se on sit seuraavaan peliin. Elikkä tosta nyt lähtee. Yes, let's do this. Olipas se helppo ja nopea. Kuinka kauan tähän mahtoi mennä? Ei no, ehkä me nyt mennään vielä Ultima 9. Bonk. Onks nyt ikuinen luuppi tota? Vittu. Oh. Onneksi Reisinin naapurit haisee kulliin, niin voi mennä eteenpäin. Onks mä heittää sun tavarat järveen? Oi, jumalauta, pystyy heittämään tavarat järveen. Hei, haista vittu Devon, pitäis pelastaa mut. Hei Devon, mä heitän sun ruuatkin järveen. Kävit kalassa vai? Voi harmillista, jos näille kävijöitä ei huonoa. Voi harmillista. Ai vittu, nuotio. Ai saata, nuotio. Mikä siinä on? Tableware. Ei et sä semmosia tarvii. Haista vittu Devon. No voi vittu. Noin. Mikä sun siitä on? Viinapullo. Let's drink it. It's empty. Noi jaa. Olipa se tylsä viinapullo. Mikä sun siinä on? Potta? Et sä sitäkään tarvii. Ai saata vittu nuotio edelleen. No voi vitun nuotio. Mä syön sut sun ruuat. Fishing ball. You don't need it, man. Sinne meni. Heippa hei. Tämäkin on niinku haista vittu meininki. Ehkä me nyt mennään olla kusipelä tässä pelissä kumminkaan, vaikka me ollaan pakanana. Pepede. No juu, ei. Jos sut alle tappaa, mut. Onks siellä vieläkin viinaa? Hei, onks sulla viinaa pullossa? Oi, poisoni! Oho! LCD Visio Engage. LCD Visio... Eiku LSD Visio Engage. Olikin myrkytettyä. Mä tykkään tosta dramaattisesta musiikista, kun hukkuu. Pitäisikö tätä rupea pelaamaan oikein tosissaan? Pitäisikö me rupea tosissaan pelaamaan tätä jo? Nonni. Hello there, Maury. Hello, Devon. Good day. What should I do? Ja mikä se tyypin nimi oli? Pentikki. Mun pitää oikeesti rupea tekemään kyllä uutta muistiinpanolistaa kyllä saman tien. Elikkä, missäs mun Ultima 8 pöydä. Ultima 8 muistiinpanot. Minä tarvin ton pohjan tonne. Muistiinpanot. Pannaan muistiin. Noin. Sut voi sammuttaa. Save. Avaa toi. Poista kaikki. Tähän ei varmaan päde yksikään mikään taika ja onestyt ja muut vastaavat. Ei tarvii välittää mistään. Poista. Noikin voi poistaa. Delete shit. Kyllä. Tenebre vai? Bentikki oli tyypin nimi vai? Mitä se sanoo? Niinku se me paussiin missään kohtaa. Mitä minun pitäisi tehdä? Visiting Tenebre. Here there is nothing unless you wish to join me in fishing. Miksi päin? But in Tenebre... Oho. There is a wealth of activities and information for a soul such as yourself. Why, I know just the person there who can help you. When you get to town, visit Bentik in the library in East Tenebre. The good sage knows practically all there is to know about our land and its people. Yes, he can certainly help you. Bentik. Visit Bentik in the library. At Eastern Tenebrae. Tää on ihan ok musiikki. Tää on kyllä ihan oikeesti ok musiikki. Farewell Maureen, good luck. Niin tuolla laiturilla tapahtuu jotain asioita. Tän intron mä muistankin jotenkin hämärästi, kun mä jollain mun kusisen paskalla tietokoneella yritän tätä pelata. Jukka liian kovalla äänellä kyllä noin. Torun, you have been accused of blasphemy against... Jumalauta, menee tekstit nopeasti. Ai se olikin näin päin. Oi vittu, ei... Ei! Come on, lopeta. Ai se onkin noin päin, 9 on sit se kaikki hitain. Jumalauta, meni tekstiin nopeasti. Mä olen speedreader, mut mä en oo vittu noin speedreader. Eiks toi kusemaan toi vitu? Et oo tosissas, eiks se oikeesti kusemaan? Reset? Reset? Ai se niinku... Jaa. Onkin mielenkiintoinen tää Rolandi-emulaatio tässä. Jesus Christ, man. Onko se resetoida tämmättä? Herra Jumala, mikä tappelumusiikki. Hillittömän kova tappelumusiikki omalla tavallaan. Herra Jumala, kova setti joo. Nyt se varmaan päättyy tohon. No noinkin dynaamiset, herra Jumala. Ja sit se jatkuu tuolla vanhalla biisillä. Okei. Vähän niinku mennyt eteenpäin sit niinku... Niin. Tech speedi 9. Oliko se nyt sit niinku näin päin? Ja mä laittanut ekasen nollaan. Kummin päin se pitää olla nyt nimenomaan? Voi herran jumala, onks täällä joku manuaali jossain? Tell me the manuals. Settings. Oli kunnon... Niin no siis on tää. Nyt pitäis vaan rupea soittamaan sitä... Mikä vitun biisi siis oikein siinä Spider-Man 3 siinä yhdessä kohtaa. Tässä se speechback muuten. On juu. Kyllä Gogin versiossa on suoraan. No voi vittu. Katsotaan. Kumminpäin se mahtaa mennä. Torun, you have been accused of blasphemy against Our Lady Modern. No voi vittu, tää on edelleen väärinpäin. Tää menee ihan vitun liian nopeasti. Elikkä se pitää laittaa nollaan. Voi jumalauta. Paskan myivät. Resetoi. Vittu sentään. Elikkä se on nolla. Nollassa on sitten hyvä. Okei, mennään vielä yksi kerta vielä. Then we can do this. Vittu sentään. Tää menee ihan romupaska aloitukseksi tää juttu. Vittu sana. Kun vittu Ultima 7 vittu nykii ja paukkuu ja tekee asioita, niin sit tää menee kiitti. Okei, ja mulla on speed limitingin päälläkin vielä. Joko nyt? Dramaattiset hetket menee päin helvettiin. Torun, you have been accused of blasphemy against Our Lady Modern and sentenced to death by beheading. Do you have any final words? I shall die as I have lived, with honor. When I face Lithus, he will not find me wanting. A man of honor would not have insulted his lady with seditious rumors, knave. I fear that Lithus will not find you at all, for your grave shall be a watery one. The lurker is not kind to the ones she acquires. This is forbidden, lady. The ritual of interment is sacred. Do not question my decisions, Tane. I am sure that Lithus would not want this once worthless spirit in his domain. No! Back, woman! Perform your task, executioner. Oh, my husband. Ne kevyt pikku hirviökin siellä loppujen lopuksi. Stand aside. Let Lady Mortea pass. Hillitynkö tommonen ihme nahkapukunainen? Mitä vittua? Executioner. Täältä Paganassa onkin jo mielenkiintoista touhua. Halt! You have broken the law. I have never seen you before, stranger. Identify yourself and your business in Tenebrae. What just happened here? The execution is none of your business. Just be glad that the treasonous, despicable criminal has been properly punished. Now answer the question. I go by Mori. I come in peace. My business, not yours. I do not remember. Ei kyllä mä kerron, no, yritän olla avataari. I go by Mori. Well met, Mori. And where do you hail from? The beach? A place far away? Another world? Mennään totuuden kanssa ihan vitu sama. Another world. I may appear to be just a simple guard to you, but I outgrew such fairy tales years ago. I suggest you change your tone with me, or I will see your worthless hide resting on the side of a jail. Now if you would tell me your business in the city. And to return home. Then what in the lady's name are you doing wandering around here? I suggest you quickly find your way. You may go about your business. Please move along and do not disturb the widow until after I have escorted her from the docks. Ei sillä, että mulla on pakkomiele, mutta... Vastaako se riitaa mua, jos mä menen kiusamaan sitä? Oikeesti puhumaan täällä. Vitu steppi-animaatio. Herkule Poirotti ja näyttelee John Malkovitsi tuossa uusimmassa versiossa. Näyttää vaan joltakin randomi ukkelilta. Ha? Missä vitun uusimmassa versiossa? My husband. So my husband, what shall I do? What shall become of me? Oh no, no, no! Toren. Excuse me. Okay. I told you to move along. Bother me with your questions later. Okay. Ystävällistä väkeä. Kiva atmosfääri. Ja kaikkea muutakin ihanaa. Voiks mä olla uusinen jätkä? Mikä sä olet? Keyring. Oho, peli heti aluun Keyringi. Jumalauta. Ne taisi tietää, että Serpentailissa ihmiset tykkäs Keyringistä, niin annetaan saman tien käyttää. Ai vittu. Mitäs tää aseidenlaitto toimii? Pistäks se tonne? No hieno animaatio, jumalauta. I will come and kill you. Gotta look good on the job. Nyt ei viisasteta laittaa teitä vielä munat pölkyllä. Toi otti yhden kalapoikon leikan, niin se piti tappaa. Näin se totta olla, joo. Telottaja vahva itsenäinen nykynainen ja saa pokeutua miten haluaa. Tämäkin saattaa olla. Joku uusi Poirot-minisarja tulee nyt telkkarista 4-osainen. Ajaa. Miltä vitun kanavalta? En lue tai seuraa, mutta perustuu johonkin novelliin, of course. Joo, kyllä, yleensä joo, kyllä. Tuplaklikkaamalla noin sulkeutuu, okei. Okay. Barrel Bottle. Onks tässä kuinka paljon inventaario helvetti, että kannattaako mun kantaa tämmösiäkin mukana, että mulla on lisää kontainereita? Ehkä sitten näkee ja kuulee. Jee, sieniä. Mitä sienet tekee? Most honorable Lady Mordea, I've heard that the skull of Quakes has been removed from the upper catacombs. I have believed that it will be safe within the catacombs, for it is the only place it is used. Pray tell me, my lady, what do you suggest I do about this situation? I have heard rumors that it presently may be within the shrine, but I have grave doubts about it. I await your swift answer, and am assured of your graciousness in this matter. Lieutenant VIII. Tuosta ei varmaan tarvitse mitään muuta kirjoittaa kuin, että... Skull of Quakes from the upper catacombs. Mä epäilen, että se oli John Romero. Se on se ensimmäinen syyllinen. Siellä ei varmaan motiivia. Selvä. Sieniä. Tarviiks mä sieniä? Nam nam. LSD-visio, yes. Here we go. Nyt on vähän taas pöhynä päällä. Kato, lähti 2 hipaakin, voi vittu. Lisää sieniä. Miten sitä kiipeäminen tässä toimii? Okei, ei näin ainakaan. Herkules on nyt 14-vuotias amatöörietsivä? Niin joo, siis animessa vai? Perkulen hoidotista on tehty animekin. Ai jaa, okei. Joo. Joku sen niminen kuin Agatha Christie's Great Detectives Poirot and Marple. Hold, stranger! I have seen many strange things in my time, but I have never seen the likes of ye. What be your name, stranger? I am Mori. Alright, Mori, now I know ya. Now get lost. I don't need Lady Mordea catching me chatting with some pauper. She's not in a right good mood today. What is this city? What do you mean, what is this city? Do you have a brain fever, lad? It's only the largest pile of bricks in the known world. Tenebrae it is, and don't you go now forgetting it. Bye. Yeah.
Yes, Avatar, seek our way home.
Okei, Guardian, kiitos. Biisi vaihtuu. Bluip. Guardsman. What do you want, stranger? Who are you? My name is none of your concern. What is your concern is staying out of trouble. What is your duty? My duty is to protect her ladyship Mordea, though I doubt she needs it with her powers. You would have to be insane to think of assaulting her. Where am I? You are in central Tenebrae. This direction leads to the palace. Since you are new here, I'd suggest you stay clear of it. Okay? You should head east or west, for the palace holds only trouble for the likes of you. To the east is where the rich folks live. On that side is a library and a weapons trainer. And that is where all the poor sods live. There is the smithy and a tavern in that direction as well. Now move along so I can return to duty. Skibidi skabidi skibidi scoob. Okay. Annas korvaa, latausruutu. Okei. Aina jaettu tämmönen niinku latausruutu, niinku ei oo yhtenäinen maailma, vaan se on niinku tämmönen niinku latausruutu helvetti. Tossa oli ne ääninäyttelyt, joiden vuoksi tässä pelissä on speechback. Joo, kyllä. Siis vähän väliin toi Guardiani huutelee, että at this moment, Britannia burns. Sitten on vaan niinku, okei. Tää kontrollointi on kyllä aika hirvittävää. Four obsidian coins. Mä nyt oletan, että tässä voi olla kusipääkorea, kun meillä on Britannias, niin... Äkkyset ei toimi. Voi vittu, paskapeli. Kui vitun pitkät tallennukset nimet tässä on? Siihen loppua. Noin. Vitun pitkät tallennukset nimet. Jesus Christ, man. Mä en tuu koskaan oppimaan tuolla vitu, että... Tuolla kun kytki. Wow. Ai vitun kerve. Miksi nuo tyypit on noin kusipäitä? Varmaan tää on joku juttu varmaan täällä Pagananassa. Kalsarit pois. Kyllä. Niin kuuluu olla. Paganana. Enkö minä voi nappia painaa seinän läpi? Pysyks kytti? Kattokaa hieno animaatio. 2 freimin animaatio. Vittu tää steppel on kyllä perseestä. Voi herran jumala, tää kontrollointi on kyllä yhtä kusista paskaa. Hieno animaatio. Wow. Do not enter. En mä tiennyt. Vittu oli jo siellä nyt. Älä sitten mene tonne. Ai. Okei. Fight Master. Rain Barrel. Ja vitust sieni. Fire Shroom. Okei. Mitäs sinne te ootte sitten? Se on vaan normisieniä. Ei ne kuulosta niin siisti kuin tulisienet. Tenebrean eilä. Jumalat kaljanalle. Pörp. Pörp, pörp, pörp. It's empty. No loitering. Ei kävele. Et se nyt Avatar voi olla noin kevyt. Et oo... Siinä on funny. Kenen funny siinä on? Statue of Mordea. Mikä funny sä olet? Oho. Se oli oikeesti niinku tommonen niinku... Wow, hieno animaatio siinäkin. Mitä siinä lukee? Temple of the Divine Hydros. Okei. Kukas sä olet? Hello?
I don't know you. My mommy told me never to talk to strangers. You are a stranger. I can talk to you.
Okei. Nice talking to you. Kukas sä sit olet? Greetings. How's about helping out a poor cripple? Okei. Anna se 4 kolikkoa vaikka sille. Here you go. Thank you kindly, stranger. May Hydrus find favor with you. Mä en tiedä mitä rahalla tehdä, niin fuck it. Antaa vaan niinku köyhille ne. Okei. Kello. Onko tässä pelissä kellon aika? The time is now Bloodwatch. No se kertoo mulle paljon. Hello.
How may I serve you, stranger?
By what are you called?
My name is Aramina.
What do you do here?
I am merely a servant here. Tell me about the palace. This is the home of our tempest, Lady Mordos. Well, it is not good for me to speak of my employer behind her back, but I will tell you, she's a hard woman.
Why do you say she is hard?
She will stop at nothing to preserve her power here. Nothing, not even murder. She hardly notices my existence. At least she does not take pleasure in tormenting me like her seneschal does.
Termit menee multa ihan ohi, mutta ei se mitään. She wishes to preserve power?
The power of the tempestry, my lord. The power to control the weather. This is indeed great power.
Murder?
Murder? Did I say murder? Oh no, I meant nothing like that. I meant mother. That's it, mother. She's like a mother to her people.
Älä kuseta, sä jo ehtisit sanomaan murhaa.
Tell me of the seneschal. Solkind is her seneschal.
Tell me of Salkind.
He sets me the difficult tasks and delights in tormenting me until I am barely able to complete them.
What difficult task does he give you?
No, certainly not difficult, rather challenging. That's it, he gives me challenging tasks. For instance, he will give me a very small brush and tell me to clean the floor of his room. Then he will arrive, his boots muddy from his walks along the shore, and drag mud all over the floor I just cleaned.
Vittu mikään mulkku.
He then points the dirt out to me and chastises me for poor work, calling me a no-good slackard.
How does he torment you?
Perhaps torment is too strong a word. Actually, he's quite a joker. For instance, just today he was walking down the hall toward me when he suddenly cornered me and began to pinch and grab my body. Don't you think that is funny?
Hashtag me too? Hashtag me too? No?
No? Really? Truly, I didn't find it very humorous either, but he finds it hilarious, so I smile and try my best to stay out of his way. There is precious little I can do.
No. Noin voisi tehdä kyllä. Slap him!
No, my friend, I have no desire to lose my job nor my head. For to strike the seneschal would be considered treason. I would be beheaded before the next morning.
Voi vittu mikä paikka.
Well, I must get back to work now.
Voi vittu mikä paikka. Tekis mieli pölliä sen tavarat ihan muuten vaan sit. Vittu mitä paskaa.
Ei jumalauta.
Boy Kith. Stuffed thorax. Saippua, peili ja towel.
Why is this open?
Tuleeko se nyt oveen sieltä vai? Miksi toi kello näyttää edelleenkin tommasta paskaa? The time is now Bloodwatch. Mitä toi kello tekee? Hei Raseni, mikä toi kellon funktio? Hei, Raseni, mikä toi kellon funktio? Raseni, hei, mikä sulla vaivaa? Miksi et sä puhu mulle? Raw kith fillet. Fish. Kithi silkki. Morista vaan kembusi. Kuinka nopeita nämä 200 tiktakkia oli? Oli monta. Se on monta kyllä. Kuka sä sit oot? Peasant. Hello. What is your name?
Who are you? Has Morder sent you to question me? If you do not know who I am, then you do not know what I have done.
How would? Hello. What can I do for you? Who are you? I'm a guardsman in the service of her ladyship. What is your duty? My duty is to control the populace to ensure that the peace is kept for her ladyship. Missä se kirjasto? This is confusing. There is too many confusing things. Voinko me hypätä tosta yli? Ei, mutta mä voin panna aitaa. Ja sit tyhjä ilme, tonni seteli.
Kipkop, 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 kipkop. Buip. Onko tämä kirjasto? Näyttää kyllä hautausmaalta. Heräsi vartti sitten, 1,5 tuntia sain vain nukuttaa, nyt on pirteä olo kuin Peippasella. Miten helveton olo. Mä voin uskoa, joo. Se on kyllä ihan hirvittävää, kun niinku nukkuu ihan pikkusen aikaa, kun tarkoitus nukkuu koko yön yli, ja sit yhtäkkiä vaan havahtui johonkin toteamaan, niinku, että jaa, no se oli siis sitten. Mites mauka joulu? Mynämäellä. Kirjoja, Herran Jumala. Minä luulen, että mä pääsen helpolla, että tässä pelissä ei tarvitse lukea kirjoja, mutta no pitää lukea kirjoja. Arkku. Flask of oil. Perfume, tämmöstä. Minä oltiin molemmat ja ei siinähän se meni. Siellä tuli vaan kirjoiltua ja katsottua vieressä, kun Johannan isoveli ja hänen iskänsä ei tehnyt mitään ja Johanna ja hänen äitinsä niin teki oikeastaan joulun koko perheellä oikeastaan siellä. Aika... Niinhän sitä luulisi. Mut kyllä, siinähän se meni. Ei mä nyt oikeastaan keksi mitään sanottavaa. Vähän on ehkä turhan paljon sitä turhan päivästä liirunlaarumin joutuu kuuntelemaan ja kaikesta politiikan paskasta ja sinkkuillallisen paskasta ja lentoturvatutkimuspaskasta ja tämmöisistä turhan päiväisyyksistä. Siinähän se nyt oikeastaan meni. Luikis Mansion 2 pelatessa ja YouTubea kattelles ja Jossua kiusaisi ja siellä mä vaan niinku pidin huusin Jossulla vähän väliin, no niin nainen, teepäs vähän perunalaatikkoa sieltä ja heitä kinkkuuniin ja ja sit Jossu tuli läpsyttämään mua korville ja sit nyt vittu mies imuroit ja sit mä miksi sä aina vihat mua? Year of Aricon, Volume 3 by Cram. The lone stranger slowly rode into the desolate village on the back of his mammoth, white Hordax. Hordax. Remember, this is Hordax. Kai saatana imuroita. En imuroida. Mä olin paskalla silloin. Vai nukuiks mä silloin? En mä muista. Mitä vittua? Mä en tiedä, mä oikeastaan edes tiedä. Mä olin varmaan paskalla tai mä nukuin. Mä en oo ihan varma kumpaa mä tein. Yritin nukkua jotain. Tai mä olin vaan yläkerrassa napparit korville ja pelasin Luikis Mansioniin. Jossu will remember this. Joo, kyllä. En mä tehnyt siellä mitään. Noi likat siellä teki kaiken ja mä olin vaan venyttelin Jesariin siellä ja olin paska jätkä. As he dismounted his beast, he threw the leathery reins over the closest tie rod, then slowly strode to the double doors of the tavern. Though the tavern rear roared with the laughter of drunken herdsmen, the jovial spirit quickly fluttered like fresh manure thrown against a wall. Everyone turned as the caped stranger entered the smoke-filled hovel. The darkly robed individual motioned with 2 fingers for the stiffest grog. The tavern master quickly obeyed, pouring the thick brew with shaky hands. The womenfolk left, claiming they needed to visit the House of Fecal Waste. House of Fecal Waste, vittu, kuule, onko se sitten vessa vai? Shadowlander, called a nasal tinge voice from the rear of the room. Your type are not welcomed in this acre of the world. Shortly a path cleared between the Shadowlander and the owner of the high-pitched voice. The voice belonged to squat little Nobbit. Nobbitteja? What? He sat with a crooked smile on his filing face while his hand played with the handle of his jeweled dagger-like sword. On his throat, just above his massive goiter, he openly wore a staff-shaped tattoo. Only true herdsmen wore these. A hush fell over the tavern. No one dared to draw breath. Kumpa olisikin, maksasi mitä vain, jos muutaman nukahduspilleri saisi. Päivystyksiä on turha mennä, kun eivät varmaan ota vastaan. 112 on ihan turha soittaa. Alkoholia ei kannata ottaa, kun huomenna tärkeä päivä. Et ollaan nyt tällaisessa ikävässä tilanteessa. Minä kun Neil kululit, sais nukuttua aamuun asti. Hyvä, ettei itku tule. Niin no jotain Niin, rentoutusharjoitteluja. Rentoutusvenyttelyä. Mitä tää on nyt niinku, et... Tiedän kyllä ton tunteen, että kun herää yöunien aikaan, nukkuu sen 15, 20, 30 minuuttia ja sit herää semmoista niinku, että jaha, nyt ei tule enää uni enää. Sit vaan pyörii sängyssä ja pyörii. Se on muuten maailman paskin asia. Mutta täältä löytyis kyllä. Kyllä löytyis vittu lääkkeet. Kyllä sä oot vittu tajun kankaalla, jos haluis. Täältä löytyis kyllä. Kaikki poppakonstit kokeiltu. Oi vittujen kevät. Mäkään ei osaa mitään neuvoja oikein antaa, koska syyt, mutta... Hiilareiden syönti voi väsyttää, että sä nukuttuu. Niin kuin syö jotain raskasta tämmöstä. Se kulma jo juu. Niin lämmit maitoa joo. Sekin saattaa rentouttaa kehoa. Year of Aricon, Volume 4 by Cram. The lone stranger turned towards the herdsman, still quaffing his grog. A bloodshot eye stared out from under his dark mask. A nervous twitch pulled at the muscle of his leathery cheek. Ha! Laughed the herdsman as he waddled up to the bar. I do not believe the tall tales told of the Shadowlanders. I believe them to be lies. I think they have less than half the warrior's blood that flows through my little toe. The Nubbit snorted at his own remark, but looked disappointed when the others did not laugh with him. He turned back and stared at the stranger straight in the knee. For those who do not believe this, I will prove it by shedding some yellow Darklander blood. Quickly he drew his great dagger-like sword. Before the Nubbit could strike, the stranger grabbed the herdsman by the tattoo and easily lifted him into the air. As the Nubbit began to open his mouth to cry out, the Darklander shoved his massive fist down the herdsman's gullet. The stranger took a quick pull and turned the Nubbit inside out. Oh! He dropped the bloody mess on the bar. Upon seeing this, someone gave the ancient herdsman warning cry. Let us move the flock out of here. The tavern was instantly cleared. Jumalauta. Jännää kuulla niinku nopiteesti jotain juttua sitten Ultima 3. Ei voi muuta sanoa kuin, että kannattaa kokeilla sitä möyhää. On ottanut jokaista kaveria, keillä on ollut uniongelmia, sitten mutsilla, kella oli syövästä ongelmia. Jaa. Suosittelisin melatonia edes. Itse käytän sitä. 1,5 milligramman pilleri on ollut hyvä, mikä ottaa nukahtamaan. Suosittelen laittamaan vaikka Bob Rossia pyörimään, niin tämän kuuntelu voi auttaa. Niin, jotain semmoista rauhallista. On niin monta kippakonstia, mitä voisi kokeilemaan, mutta joillekin toimii, joillekin ei. Hei vartiemies, kenen kämppä tää on? Greetings, Mori. Hello. You are of course staying out of trouble, I trust, Mori. Have you stopped me to chat for more information? What is your name? I am Tana, God's woman of Tenebrae. Okay. Please tell me what it is you wish to know so that I might get on with my business. Tell me about Tenebrae. I suppose that should not be too difficult since I have lived here my entire life. Some say Tenebrae does not need to be anything more than a bastion of security, since there is no other measure of civilization around, but I disagree. Give me my home and my blade and I'll protect her, Tenebrae, with my life. Bastion of security from what? Well, initially from the Zealons. That is why the city is divided into 3 sections. The rulers wanted additional defenses for the palace should the outer walls be breached. Now, however, the walls are nothing more than divisions between the classes and boundaries for the weather and the cemetery. Zealands? Indeed, you are a stranger not to know of the despicable Zealands. They are, or were, an insane collection of people who were too blind to recognize the power of the Titans. They foolishly and tenaciously held on to an archaic set of beliefs, and when the Titans demonstrated their might and authority, the Zealands refused to acknowledge the truth. What about the cemetery? This home to more than the deed it is. In accordance with our pact, we bring the lifeless corpses of our friends and brethren to the necromancers. There and only they and Lithus know what happens after that. What pact? Eons ago our forefathers formed a covenant with Lithus. He would cease his angry rumblings if we agreed to send our deed to him. There, deep in the heart of Pagan, the deed exists solely to serve the Mountain King's very wishes, and sometimes Lithus has them wander the surface world as well. How do you send the dead? How in the blazes do you expect me to know? Burying them does it, I suppose? Why not ask a necromancer? Wander up here? Aye, in the cemetery the undead wander, doing the bidding of the necromancers, always ready to take the living down to the very depths of the Mountain King's domain. I would avoid the cemetery at all costs, I would. Keep your business far from there.
Okei. Eikä siellä ole epäkuolleet, mutta...
Tell me about the necromancers. I'll tell you what I can. They say necromancers deal with death. Well, I say that it is not true. Necromancers are death as far as I am concerned. I suppose someone must be responsible for maintaining our end of the pact. But how anyone can choose to do so willingly is beyond my comprehension.
Boundary for the weather?
As long as we show proper reverence for the Lady Modea, she shall bless us with the skies of peace and calm. Cross her, however, and she shall call upon the might of Hydrus, raining down upon the people a tempest the likes of which have never been felt before. Yet the lady does not extend her kindness without the city walls. Traveler, beware.
Goodbye. Okei. Melatoniinia mulla on 3 milligrammaa, mutta ei näköjään ollut apua. Rossi on hyvä idea, mutta kuitenkin saat nukahtaa, jos joku ääni on päällä. Alright. Mun kaveri ei sit varmaan pysty taas nukahtamaan, jos ei oo joku ääni päällä. Silloin on aina joku sarja pyörimässä tai joku äänikirja tai jotain muuta. Ainakin monta kertaa se tuntuu kehuvan sitä, että sillä on tämmönen päällänsä, että pystyy ylipäätään toimimaan. Mulle toimi aina syöminen. Töissä ei voinut evätä syödä, kun loppupäivä väsytti niin saakelisti. Tässä on 3 milligrammaa pillereitä, kun vihdoin lääkärille menin, niin se tuli päänsärky. Kokeilin puolittaa ja 1,5 milligrammaa auttamatta kipuja ei tule. Polta käyhää, sillä saa varmasti unta. Ei kuulemma auta. Mulla olisi yksi keino, mutta en tiedä, onko se suositelvaa. Käy Hietsussa, jos asut Helsingissä, jossa kodittomat käy koisimassa. Siellä on yleensä niitä pillerin myyjä, mutta muista, että se on todellakin vikavaihtoehto. On kyllä vittu maailman kusisimmat vaihtoehdot on kyllä teillä tällä hetkellä. Kaikki vaan vaihtoehdot. Joo, ei mitään, tunge pilleri huuleen ja vähän huumeet ja... Jumalauta. Miksi sekin auttaa varmaan tiettyyn pisteeseen? Curse these tight boots. Locked door. No voi muna. Onks tässä se kirjasta? Locked door. Voi muna 2. Okei. Joku rakennus, mihin pääsee sisään, mutta... Kuka sä sitten olet? Hello! Greetings, stranger. I am called Baron. And you? Et sä Bendik, voi perkele. My name is Mori. Well met, Mori. And what do you seek of me? What do you do here? I'm a mage. How are you? I am fine. Now that you have asked your questions, it is my turn to ask you mine. Why are you here? I have been banished here. Oh really? Who has banished you here? A big red guy called the Guardian, an evil being of immense power. What is this evil being called? He is called the Guardian. You speak blasphemy. The Guardian is the power that opposes the evil.
When the destroyer came, it was only through the Guardian's advice that we survived at all. Okei. Okay. Ai täällä on niinku Guardian hyvä jätkä vai? Okei. Okay. Alas, never to have a moment of peace. What do you want, Mori? Did I say something wrong? Did you say something right? Farewell, oh confused one. Yes, Mori, is there something you want? I'm a stranger here, please forgive me. Forgiven. What can I help you with? What do you do here? I'm a mage. Okay. So, goodbye. May the fire of Pyrus always burn brightly within you, Mori.
Oi vitun kevät. Että Guardian on hyvä tyyppi. No, Mä alkaa tosi nopeasti nukuttaa, jos katon sängyltä Netflixistä jotain sarjaa. Parassa tapauksessa jo yö putkassa, jos ei ainakaan sit saa nukuttua. Idiootti, joka menee kylpyyn nyt kattoo, millaiset vesipsykoosit iskee yläkerrassa, kun vesi juoksee. Moi morjes. Kuulostaa ihan kuin Avatar joksi skorkkarit jalos ympäri kaupunkia. No siltä se kyllä vähän kuulostaa kieltämättä. Se tämän pelin siis kyllä mä ajattelin, että sen Chronicle of bla 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 mä luen varmaan huomenna aamukaapin ääressä. Saa vähän niinku kiinni tästä maailmasta. Koska nyt kun tää tuli vaan aloitettu tästä suoraan, niin... Eduskunta. Ei mitään politiikkaa, pää vaan särkemään. Kaupungin kartta olisi kyllä perkeleen mukava asia. Onks tää... Se on lukittu ovi. Oho, punnerruksiin. Kuka sä olet? Hello? I don't know you. My mommy told me never to talk to strangers. You're a stranger. I can talk to you. Mitkä grafiikat. Joo, no siis... Mä en tiedä, onko tää edistysaskel oikeastaan mihinkään Ultima 7 tai jotain. Tää on erilaiset. Se on varmaan niinku ainoa kehu, mitä mä voin tälle sanoa tällä hetkellä, että ne on erilaiset. Tän käyttää Crusader No Remorsen moottori, mikä on kans tämmösen samantyyppinen isometrinen, mutta se näyttää kyllä mun mielestä nätimmältä. Mulla saattaa kyllä muisti sulavoittaa asioita, mutta mun muistaakseni se oli helvetin paljon nätimmän näköinen. Todella kiusallis käydä siellä dallailemasta nukkuvia sijassa, puhuttakaan siitä, mitä henkilökunta on asiasta mieltä. Niin sekin vielä. Yritän sitä lämmintä suihkua ja kuumaa sipulimaitoa, jos ei kumpikaan auta, jos se junituu 2 mennessä, niin hyppään taksia ja käyn metsästämään niitä pillereitä. Ihan sama vaikka kuolion niistä saisi. Iik. Mä aion huomenna mennä opettamaan ja saada kaikille hyvä mieli, se on vissiin. Rakastan maailmasta todella paljon, ihan sama vaikka rahat menisi varin pilleriin sekä taksiin. Niin, no, se on toki vaihtoehto. Jaa. Eikö tätä pääse pukaa pois? No niin, kiitos. Tää on kyllä niin tosi hazardi. Toki hyppeli tuolta alas. Onks säkin joku beggar? You! Hello? Do you have any old coins you don't want? Eh? Peasant. May you roast in Pyrus flames for all the time. Ei mulla on rahaa. Vittu, ei mulla tippaakaan rahaa. Kiitoksia kaappis hostista. Hello vaan. Wait on 8. Joo, siis mut... Kun mä kokeilin sitä aikaisemminkin, niin se ei nyt vaan tehnyt mitään. Kävelyäänet on kyllä jotain, mitä... Olisi kiva saada hiljaisemmaa, mutta kun ei vitti saada kaikkia peliääniä ihan hiljaisena. Täällä ei voi kyllä olla mitään.
Kai se nyt vielä hipaa, kun tuossa hyppää tommoista. Näköjään. Vitun kevät. Oletko sinä se kirjasto? Eiku tää on se lukittu ovi. Voi vitun kevät. Eastern Tenebrae. Mikäs sä olet? Sä olet vaan Spring of the Eternal Hydros. Chaos Kemi. Okei. Tenebrae Library. No niin, nyt ollaan oikeassa paikassa. Oletko sinä Bentikki? Greetings. What is your name? Who are you? Has Morder sent you to question me? Niitä on tää tyyppi, haista vittusit. Kuka sä olet? Greetings. People are trying to read. How would? Greetings. People are trying to read. Quiet. Sori, mutta teidän ovet kyllä vinkuu liikaa. Mä en tiedä, voiko tää olla niinku hiljaisuutta. Ei oo pentikkiä näkyvissä. Onko se yläkerrassa? Very interesting. Greetings. Greetings, stranger. What is your name? My name is Bentik. It is a word of pagan derivation. I think it originally meant he who toils hard. But that is not for certain. I have found a number of references to Ventak in several older texts, and feel that this may be the root of the name Bentik. And what is your name, friend? My name is Mori. Well met, Mori. I am pleased to meet you. What is Pagan? Pagan? Why, that is the name of this place. I thought this place was Tenebrae. No. That is the name of this city. Pagan is the name of this land, this all-encompassing world upon which we all live out our meager lives. Your meager lives? When you take into consideration the scope of this world and its history, anything we do or accomplish becomes virtually meaningless. We are but a fraction of the blink of an eye in the history of Pagan. What do you do? By trade, I am the librarian of this city. However, I prefer to think of myself as a student of life, one who spends his time observing all facets of life. I'm a great studier of people. You will be amazed at the things you may learn by simply observing your neighbors in their everyday life. Tell me of the library. The library is my joy. It is where I spend all my time studying the words left by our predecessors. You cannot believe what is in these books. They contain the wisdom of many ages in them. Too many people overlook the knowledge of our past generations. Because of this, we are doomed to repeat the same mistakes over and over again. Tell me of the people. Ah, you a student of life as well. I do so enjoy finding someone who shares the same passions as I do. The people here in Tenebrae are a varied and fascinating lot. They go about their daily toils, laboring under the yoke of a somewhat restrictive government, and yet still find the time to enjoy themselves occasionally. You mean... a restrictive government? It is not quite the safe thing to discuss here. Even my interest in knowledge and books cannot protect me from Lady Morder. You might say she has a rather short temper. Why, just recently her guards confiscated my personal diary, though I don't have any idea why. Okay. Tell me of your neighbors. I think the one I like to spend the most time with is Devon. He is such a sharp fellow. I think he has far more potential than even he realizes. I've met Devon. Have you? Oh, he's such a nice fellow. We've spent hours in conversation here. He's really quite sharp. Loves books almost as much as I do. In some ways, he knows more about Pagan than I.
Devon has potential? Ah, yes. I can't put my finger on it, but there is something there. Call it a hunch, if you will. I just seem to feel that there is something about him that suggests great things. He does love to read. Maybe he's destined to be a great scholar. Tell me of the... No, does he know how I may leave Pagan? Leave Pagan? My goodness, I don't think I've ever had anyone ask for that, but then again, you don't act, talk or dress like anyone I've ever seen before. Let's see. I can only suggest you speak to someone with more magic abilities than I. Mithrin could help you, or... though I dread to suggest it. Perhaps the necromancer could help you. Okay. Who is Mithrin? Mithrin lives in a small house on the plateau. He has been known to dabble in the various magical arts and is a scholar. He often makes magical scrolls and things and sells them. Mithrin practices magical arts? Yes, though I'm not sure what school he follows. Mithrin is a scholar? Well, of sorts. He enjoys studying and reading books as I do, but he will form an opinion and tout it as perfect. He will even cite his own writings as examples of perfect creative thinking. This makes talking to him a bit tedious, but he is a good source of information. Where is the plateau? From the palace in the center of the Tenebrae, head north out of the city. Follow the path through the valley to a cave entrance. Go through the cave. It opens on the other side of the mountain on the plateau. Okay, what schools? Why, the four elemental schools, of course. There are those who follow Lithas and practice his magic. These spells are mostly earth-based spells. They require long hours of study and practice to cast correctly. So I've heard. The tempestual magics of Hydrus are only available through heredity and so are unavailable to the majority. Now the magics of Pyrus, the fire elemental, are quite spectacular to watch, but very dangerous to the caster. Stratus, on the other hand, provides healing magics, although she requires strict obedience to her tenets. Okay. Come back anytime, Mori. I so love a good conversation. Tuo fontti on niin epäselvä, että näytän niinku se Mordea olisi Mordos. No se on vähän siu semmonen. Se on parempi kuin Ultima 7, mutta se voisi olla silti vähän kyllä parempi. Student of Life on elämän goal. Se on kyllä. Ei, huonoin puoli itsessäni on tämä ikävä perfektionismi. Jos joku menee maalatessa haluamallaan tavalla, niin sitä kelaa mitä muuta ajattelee periaatteella. Mutta joo, ymmärrän jo pointtisi. Halvempia vaihtoehtoja. Olet vähän väsynyt ja kerrot tilanteen. Niin, no juu, kyllä. Se on varmaan tommosissa jutuissa, että kun kerran sovittu jo, niin ei voi oikein sillai... En mä tiedä, miten se mahtaa noissa toimia, että jos ilmoittaa vaan, että tässä on mennyt yöt ihan päin helvettiin, että nyt ei kyllä pysty. Ei pysty eikä kykene. Ei sekään varmaan toimi. Mauri läpsyttelee pakanoita pakaroille. Kyllä se kuuluu asiaan. Todella mukava, että olet opetellut mestari nopeissa. Itse asiassa sittenkin olen opiskellut Rossin tekniikkejä. Kyllä ei niissä mitään vikaa ole. Itse tykkää Rossista siksi, kun hän maalaa sellaisilla siveltimillä, joilla talojakin maalataan. Sellaiset ovat päiväkotilaisillekin tuttuja. Ei se kohteellista ole, kun on vielä vapaaehtoistyö. Ei tietenkään. Se on aina ikävää, mutta kyllä nyt luulisin, että jonkunnäköistä ymmärrystä toivottavasti löytyy, että jos ilmoittaa, että tässä on mennyt yöt ihan päin helvettiin, että mä en luule, että musta on kauheasti opettamaan.
Koska on ongelma, että on vaikea päästä ylös lattialta, on tullut tämmönen vika Zeldan pelaamisesta. Mä harvemmin pelaan mitään semmoista, että ne istuu lattialla, mutta... En osaa sanoa. Ei oo tämmöstä ongelmaa kyllä olla. Kyllä aina lattialta ylös pääsee. Mä olen kyllä niin kankea paska, että mä en välttämättä sen takia pääse lattialta ylös, mutta... Honor lost by Melzer's the Troll. The state of my people leaves me distraught. Even the name troll is an insult humans hurl at each other, while in my time the name troll was noble and respected. What factors led my people down this path of twisted barbarism I will endeavor to discover. Since I was laid low by the sleeping disease contracted in my studies of the arcane, there were no efforts to revive me, and now I see why. All trolls with any mystic skills are gone. Indeed, it seems that only the ignorant buffoons remain and are breeding our society into mindless brutes. After I awakened, I was shocked to see trolls dressed in no more than rags, and even more surprised at the garbled, vile insults they hurled at me. After they drove me from their shelter, imagine trolls living in caves like beasts, I encountered a group of our old allies, the humans. Upon sighting me, they drew weapons and charged. My surprise was equally by theirs when I turned and ran, believing these to be bandits or raiders. It seems that the troll who thinks of self-preservation is alien to them. My own clothes are torn and tattered, and it shames me to wear them, but it seems trolls no longer harvest the silk of the kith. If only I had learned to use the loom in my youth, I would spin my own cloth. I also hunger for fine wine and breads, but it seems my fellows have resorted to stealing thoraxes from humans and eating them raw. One of the trolls I currently reside with it brought in a human child, and was going to eat her. I will stand for no more and blasted the troll with a spell of light. The others huddled away from me and stared with fear and hatred. I will carry the injured child back to the gates of the human city. When the guards see my act of goodwill, they will hear me out, and perhaps I will find allies among them. Paskan vitun Marit löysi, tapettiin. 12 tuntia aikaa, kun eräs sukulainenkin sanoo, uppohan niitä valtamerilaivojakin. Näinhän se kyllä on. Mä olen niin kankea, että autosta ulos tulla yhtä puskemista, en siis sieltä. Matalasta autosta ylös kiipeäminen on kyllä yksi paskin asia, mitä voi olla. Blanket and blanket. Kirjoi niin perkeleesti. Jos muistatte, miten Nosferatu-leffassa tämä vampyyri nousee maasta ylös, niin kannattaa hankkia samanlaisen nostolaitteen itselle kotiin, jos ei minä päästä ylös. Oliko se kaiken verevä vainaja vai? Eikö Nosferatu? Ei. Se on se perinteinen. En mäkään nähnyt Nosferatua. Niin juu, tulee semmoinen vaan niinku, niin, no joo, no se, Pitäis kyllä jostain metsästä näitä vanhoja vampyyrielokuvia, mutta ei niitä taida oikein mistään löytyy järkevästi. Muuta kuin ehkä hyi asioita paikoista. Niin voisi olla tietenkin YouTubessa hyvällä tuurilla. Devenoming the Kith by Loria. Onko se Joria? I tai L, ihan sama. Removing the venom sacs from a kith should only be done to an animal between the ages of 4 to 6 days. Sedate the kith by allowing it to inhale the vapors of boiling callus leaves and mushroom spores. Do not breathe these vapors or intense headaches and dizziness will occur. Once the animal is sedated, roll it over onto its back and locate the bony plate at the base of the mandible. Insert a wedge or pick into the seam at the base of the plate, and press firmly until the plate begins to slide. It will still be attached to the abdomen by several fibrous bands. Lay the plate back over the abdomen and locate a pale membrane near the base of the mandible. Make an incision diagonally. Voi jumalauta, en osaa taas toista lausua. Diagonally. Vitu ihan sama. Across the membrane and wedge it open. Inside there is a purple muscle. Slide this muscle towards the kid's head, and underneath is a green or yellow gland with 2 tubes leading into the throat. Diagonally. Wrap the gland in a heavy cloth and clamp off the larger of the tubes as close to the gland as possible. Cut the tube just behind the clamp and firmly squeeze the gland until any venom in it has been forced down the remaining tube. Cut the second tube and lift out the empty gland. Mene silmät ja suu sekaisin. Voi vittu, kielisolmu. Now stitch together the ends of the tubes and fill the cavity with the boiled callus leaves. Slide the muzzle back in place and stitch the membrane closed. Repeat the process at the base of the second mandible. When both glands have been removed, lay the plate back over the exposed area and bind to the kid's body with cord or bandages until it reattaches. Note: some kids have no venom sac on the right side of the head. If the gland is not visible after opening the cavity, it may be one of these animals. But search the area thoroughly, before closing the cavity. Ei voi ainakaan siitä rupea syyttämään, että olisi taas tämmöistä ihan vaan täydentävää tekstiä isketty pelin sisään, mutta herran jumala. Onko nämä kaikki eri kirjoja? Taitaa muuten olla. Ai vitun kevät. Pistin ton Last Savior tuohon valmiiksi, mutta ihan sama. Adventure Quarterly Volume 9. Dear Adventurer, within these pages lies your path to unimaginable wealth and power. All you must do to gain such is to read and learn of the strange and exotic places that hold the keys to your wildest dreams. Enter into a realm where money, power and pleasure await you. All you must have to gain them is the courage and the heart for adventure. The Forgotten Riches of Narl. Some say it is an island, while others swear that it is deep within the earth. All agree, though that the way to Knarl lies somewhere within the lower catacombs, though the way was lost due to a great earthquake. Many generations ago, back before the sun circled overhead, there was a passage that led to this place. Traders flocked to and fro, for this was a place of great wealth. It is said that the great weapon forges of Narl created many of the magical weapons that we have today, explaining why we have very few in these times. Other riches lie in the forms of spells. Narl was known to have had a great library in which many of the great spellcasters of the day went to study and record their findings. Some say that the mage thief Vermin and the enchanter Varkas studied there in their youth. Some say it was not an earthquake what shut the passage from our world to Narl, but that it was sealed by magic. There is rumor that a sect was forming at the library, a sect of monks known as the Dark Brothers. It is said that these monks wished to keep the secrets and the treasures of Narl to themselves. Though this is only a rumor, many of the old books and the tales handed down from father to son mention the brothers below. Is this a reference to the Dark Brothers? It is said that the way to this magical place lies deep within the heart of the catacombs. Only there you will find the way to both riches, glory and power. For he who is of sound heart and of steady sword will be the one to find the passage to Narl. Vanhoista vampyyrielokuvista tulee mieleen, että Tubessa oli joku vampyyri-anime-elokuva suomeksi. Okei. Mikäköhän mahtoi se olla? Onhan niitäkin jonkun verran tehty, mutta mikäköhän mahtoi olla? Hyvää iltaa ja pyhiä kaikille, ei mitään, morjes vaan hartsiperkulle. Adventure Quarterly Volume 12. Dear Adventurer, blah 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 blah. Toi on ihan sama teksti toi alku näköjään. The Ship of Doom. Many tales have been handed down from generation to generation about a mighty ship that sailed from the port of Tenebrae. It is said that this ship was so big that it actually dwarfed the Palace of the Tempest and needed a crew of hundreds. Many years ago, a bitter winter a bitter winter buried the city up to its rooftops in ice, threatening to destroy all the food supplies and to freeze to death all the town's inhabitants. Since no one could explain the reason for the foul winter, it was decided that a great ship be sent to find and appease whatever was causing the disaster. The ship was to sail to a distant shore, carrying the wealth of all the citizens in hopes of rescuing the city and its inhabitants. This ship, it is said, departed laden with the wealth of the city, just before the water around the port of Tenebrae froze solid. Because the sea was freezing in its wake, no ships could be sent to follow. It sailed away into the dark and forbidding twilight. The ship never did return, and most think that it went to the bottom of the sea, but some say that it found a distant shore and completed its mission, pointing to the fact that the winter storms faded away days after the ship's departure, never to return either. Some old-timers say that the ship still sails upon the sea, frozen in a huge plug of ice. Its riches and crews a silent offering to whatever sent the wintry storms. Though most will tell you this is a myth, some of the older ones will swear that the story of the ship is true. To whoever is of sound heart and steady of soul, the riches and the dangers await you in the hull of a frozen ship. A ship that has sailed off into the zone of twilight. Mikä tää on? Se on tommonen. Se vaan highlighttaa sun tekstin chattiin. Toi on noita tommosia Twitchin paskajuttuja, mitä ne on lisännyt tässä viime aikoina. Sais ne varmaan pois päältäkin, mut... Niin. Tai joo, saahan ne pois päältä, mut en oo viittinyt ottaa. Mä että jos niistä jotain pientä hupia saa aikaiseksi, niin ehkä niistä sitten saa jotain hyötyä. VIII. Rian. Minkä takia toi kirja on merkattu tommotteen? Huomioi kun maksan. Mutta et sä edes maksa siitä mitään, muuta kuin pisteitä, jotka tulee automaattisesti. Olesta vaan Terttu. The Beauty of Rian by Torren. A luminous candle guides my way in the darkness, warm and soft. My heart sings when bathed in her light. The gentle whisper of love calls out the name. Rian. Seppuko. Nonni, se oli hyvä. Se oli hyvä highlightti. And my heart answers it. Melody is her voice, whispering softly to my soul a gentle chime of love. While I live, Rian is my life. Okei. Voisi laittaa hymiöitä hienoista ihmisistä, sepä se. Buip. Mä en tiedä minkä takia tosta buip äänestä tulee mieleen joku Sam & Maxi välittömästä. Mä en tiedä minkä takia. Ai sä oot tullut alakertaan. Vieläkö se kello näyttää mitä? Tai metronomi, mikä tää oli? First Ed. On mitä aavistustakaan näistä kelloajoista. Tai mihin on niinku viittaa. Ja nyt se tyyppi taas varppa selvettiin täältä. What is going on? The Grim Book. Stories to make children sleep. No niin, kato, nyt tuli sivelin sieltä heti sulle tarina. Stories to make children sleep by Brother Grimm. Ei täällä ole ihan sama Grimmin veljekset mitä maapallolla. Jelly was a lad who was so hard to please. Nothing would he eat except for plates full of cheese. His obsession was strange and no one knew why. He swore cheese was his meal till the day that he died. His father, a strong man who was hearty and pink, was at his wits and driven to drink. He would stay at the tavern and tell of his woe. On cheap tankards of grog his money he'd blow. My son, a good lad, though a little bit chunky, has turned into a ravenous Limburger junkie. All my land and my house and the coins in my purse I will give to the man who can remove this foul curse. The old man's plea went out and was told near and far. It was whispered by gossips and made light of in the bar. But one day into town strolled a strange little fellow. His robes were all tattered and his skin a sickly yellow. I can cure your boy, he told the ripe drunken sod. I will make him good as new, this lad you call Todd. The father cried, "His name's not Todd, it's Jelly, you snot. But go on and give it a try, give it your best shot." But before he started, the mage asked for a small taste of grog to quell a quick thirst. After slumming 4 tankards, he got back to work, though his eyes did spin and his hands did jerk. With the boy before him, the mage reared back, while clutching his regents in a small-toed sack. He sent out flames of red, green and blue that engulfed the boy, hiding him from all's view. When the flames died away, as well as the stench, to the father's red eyes his boy was a wench. "Oh no," he cried, and he cursed his new fate. "My hard-working boy now looks like dungeon bait." "How could you do this, you doddering old fool? Did you sleep every day while in wizardry school?" With the excitement now over, the father settled down upon the nearest table, his head he did pound. Suddenly, a dark-robed figure entered into the grog joint, and at the old mage a withered finger he did point. Then with a flash of yellow, the mage disappeared. Everyone dove for cover, for spellcasters they now feared. With an incantation shouted by the figure in black, the young boy named Jelly quickly transmuted back. As he left the place, everyone heard the words of the monk: "Never let a bad spellcaster cast spells, especially drunk." To this very day, the young boy they call Jelly continues to stuff away cheese in his portly pot belly. But his father is content and he will always smile. This beats worrying about a daughter by a country mile. "'Tis not that I don't want a girl," claims the tired old father, "but when a boy is young, he is less of a bother. A young boy you must check up on every time and again, but with a young girl you must watch all the young men."
Oli kyllä. Hieno riimailu. Riimailu ja triimailu. The mythology of the Zealand deities. Vittu täällä on kirjeet. Dispelling myths, the truth about magic. Honor lost. The Eye. Rien. Sä oot varmaan sama kirja kuin yläkerrassa. The Thorax? Joo. On tässä sitä samoakin kirjoja jonkun verran. Saga of Bone Crusher. Journal of Varus the Healer. Voices. Book. Book isolla kirjaimella. Mitä helvettiä? Ja Journal. Journal kuulostaa hyvältä. Expedition Journal Book 2. Day 17. It's been about 4 days since Salem received the fatal blow and some strange events have happened. 3 children entered the camp before midnight claiming to be childhood friends of his. When she saw them, Lane let out a fearsome scream and collapsed, and the little strangers made a hasty retreat into the night. How could children be childhood friends of a man in his late 30s? Day 18. This morning around breakfast, Lane explained that the childhood companions were only illusions that Salem used to create to entertain himself. Minkä takia se luo lapsia hänen viihdykkeekseen? Niin mä haluaisin taas kysyä tuolla Richard Garriotilta asioita. And if the illusion still existent, then Salem must still be alive. We will seek advice when we return to Tenebrae. Day 19. After a rugged day of travel yesterday, we all expected a much-needed and well-deserved rest in Tenebrae, but it was not to be. As soon as the door to our leased cabin was opened, those 3 children were lurking about inside. Still, they pleaded for us to rescue Salem, and we had decided to let them stay with us and investigate their claims in the morning. 2 kaljaa ei tuon sipulimaadon jo kohta takaisin sänkyyn. Pyritään uudestaan toisimaan. Hyvää yötä kullekin ja hyvät uudet vuodet. Olkoon ensi vuosi parempi kuin vanha. Moi ja hei, morjesta vaan. Hyvää yötä, hyvää yötä. The fact that they knew our destination before we did unnerves me to no end. There was no sleep to be had with the mournful gaze of the oldest child, who calls himself Colin, watching me all night. Day 20.
Today we went on a wild chase with the fire brigade as they attempted to douse several fires that started simultaneously around Tenebrae when a shower of flaming stones rained from the sky. Lane's skirts caught fire and she raised quite a stir when she leapt into the Tempest's fountain to douse them, and discovered it was stocked with snapping eels. Mä katsoin, toi oli se. No joo, ei ollut sales vaan eels. Day 21. We have spent the day on the road following the directions of Colin. He has offered no information about Salem's condition other than he needs help. After what I saw happen to him, there is no way he could be alive. What kind of help does a dead person need? I guess we will find out tomorrow. Day 22. The black shadow of the keep still falls over us as the sun rises on the other side. The silence and cold here is not natural, and Warwick is convinced we are being watched from the twisted spires. I am going to carry my speaking stone into the place, and it will recognize Salem without error. Morjesta, Apro. Hyvää iltaa. Herran Jumala, tässä on kyllä paljon kirjoja. Tiedän. Brogden's Helpful Guide to Mushrooms by Brogden. Though many forms of vegetation disappeared after our sun ceased its cycling and our world entered into a state of eternal twilight, many plants, especially mushrooms, have adjusted to the lower levels of sunlight. Mushrooms have prospered and have become the dominant form of vegetation on our landscape. This ranges from the man-sized monster brown cap all the way down to the finger-sized yellow and red silent sleeper. Most mushrooms are edible. Mushrooms like the fist-sized blue bulgy and the green capper are delicious with any meal, though sometimes they may be confused by the less experienced for the blue and green form of the demon's paw, which can cause rashes, blisters, and general bladder distress. Okay. A helpful mushroom known for its healing properties is the yellow and green adventurer's friend, found in the wild. When consumed, these mushrooms tend to restore health, as well as give the consumer a general feeling of euphoria. Known to deep monsters at bay is the stench mushroom. Applying small quantities of this mushroom to your skin is guaranteed to ward away most creatures, except for those who are undead, who seem quite attracted to its pungent odor. The only way the smell of the mushroom can be removed once it is applied is by bathing in juice of the amado plant. A mushroom that you should generally stay away from is the fire mushroom. No se kuulosti kaikkein herkullisimmalta näistä. This little mushroom is usually high in sulfurous ash and tends to explode when stepped on. Hyi. Since never has there been found a mushroom that is instantly lethal, it is safe to say that you may experiment with any of the ones you find in the wild. Remember, the mushroom is our friend. Morista vaan, Timodus. Paganana. Vihreät, siniset ja yellow and green. Okay. The Big Book of Adventure by Sladek. Recorded on these pages are tips I have found while on my adventures. Read well, fellow quester, for your life may well be saved by recalling these in your time of need. Puzzles. You will be in luck if such puzzles are played with levers. These are usually not harmful and require little time, if you watch your surroundings for clues. Center levers usually reset the puzzle. Onko se nyt asia, mitä kannattaa kirjoittaa ylös? Onko se mitenkään tärkeä? Traps. If there is a chest sitting innocently in the open, touch it not. Especially if it has many corpses around it. These are the other dolls who fell for it. Chests of loot. Rarely do chests have anything in them. Open them at your risk. It will serve you well to carry a magic scroll to check for traps within these. Tricks of the trickster. Judge them by their cover, for they read differently than other books. Mazes. Always mark your path. Use rocks or wood. Never breed crumbs. Never breadcrumbs. Breed crumbs. Voi perse. Beware of treasure. It is there to lead you from the path. Spell cheats. Always read the text on the outside of these scrolls to identify them. Once you have opened them, their magic will immediately be released upon reading. Okei. Voi olla mun vainoharjoitettu, mutta tuosta tuntuu, että olen tavannut tuon Sivelinserän oikeasti. Sanoi äsken Kaapeli ja Lukas. Kaapelitehtaalla on Suomen ainoa myymälä, jossa myydään kyseenomaista merkkiä. Pitäkää vaan mua pöpinä, mutta jotenkin tuli outo tunne. Elikkä lisätään bännilistalle myös Sivelin setää varmuuden vuoksi. Siinä on sitten jo 5 nimeä. Yes. Year of Arikon Volume 3 by Gran. Tää on kyllä sama kirja, mikä äskenkin oli. Tai siellä aikaisemmin yhdessä paikkaa oli. Herran jumala, tässä kyllä navigointi on perseestä. Buip? Voices. The Voices of Mary by Salem. I wake in the night and the rooms are all dead. I follow a dream, she still echoes in my head. The new girl is twitching asleep on the floor. I move through dark rooms and pass through the door. Out in the chill I follow the walk. The spirits aren't speaking. No, so there's no need to talk. The moon has arisen, to flower over the world, while tendrils of mist snake out and slowly unfurl. There's a sign by the sea that doesn't make sense, and out past the jetty await sirens horny and tense. Briefly through windows in the pale glass waves, I see lost faces, ruined heroes in watery graves. I know what comes next, because I've read all my lines. I've been over my part millions of times. As the waters roll in and I'm swallowed by sea, I can hear Mary whisper, calling to me. Come on, baby, from somewhere she cries. I want you to love me like spiders love flies. Get over here. Kuka on semmoinen humma? Ja siellä on taas joku beggar. Ancient book. Gold. Valuable commodity or worthless trash. Voi luojan herran jumala. Näissä lukee vain kaikista quiet, okei. No joo. Vois lukea kirjaston kirjat pois alta ja sitten pistää vähitellen varmaan pillit puusiin. Final Sunlight, koska näitä nimittäin riittää. Koska nää on ilmeisesti vaan tämmöstä ylimääräistä taukkaa. Ja pientä vinkkiä ehkä jossain rivissä ehkä 2. Ehkä. The Final Sunlight by Nolan Drew, the blind idiot of Tenebrae. The final moments of sunlight were glorious moments, ones we would have cherished had we known that they were to be our last. The war against our very kindred seemed never-ending day after day of bloodshed. In their eyes burned the hatred of intolerance, and these flames kindled the fire of violence. After a while it became easy to forget the faces of those who had slain. A sister with one chop, an uncle with another, yet they still came, outraged that we dared to listen to the voice of warning. By the time the destroyer came, we were ready, not for the destroyer, but for an end to the fighting. Too many had not heeded, so we thought. Too many refused to acknowledge the might of the Titans. We were doomed to devastation, but with the doom came the sickening thought of peace and silence. In the end, we wondered would Pagan and Zealand know one from the other as lifeless corpses filling the pyres, the result of the destroyer's carnage. Destroyer. Eiks Ultima Underworldissa tuhottu Destroyeri? No joo, no kumminkin. But then came the Titans. First rose Lithus, the Mountain King. Then came Stratus, the Mystic Voice, and her sister Hydrus, the Lurker. Finally, the blazing image of Pyrrhus, Lord of Flame, appeared to challenge the Destroyer. On the ground, both Pagan and Zealand alike ceased battle, awed by the presence of these titanic elements. Lue se pelin manuaali, niin selviää kuka on Destroyer. Juu, pitää lukea. Niin tosiaan. Mä rupesin miettimään vaan, että Ultima Underworld 1 mun mielestä oli Destroyeri. The sky became a whirlwind of smoke and dust and hail, and as the Titans joined forces too and began to rise up. As the battle was fought above, the very lands upon which we stood we rendered peace from peace. Mountains shifted, rose and spewed fiery death. Wind ripped through buildings and torrents of water cascaded over the walls of the cities. The very enemies who stood against each other, bared fangs and flashing eyes, were unable to face off. Blinded by the smoke, tumbled by the quakes, scorched by the searing flames. There was naught but chaos. And when the fight ended and the destroyer vanquished, there was naught but ruin. The quake ceased, the wind slowed, the waters calmed, and the smoke cleared. Pagan again saw Pagan. Despite the recent tumult, the moment was one of serenity, but the sun was no more. There is no knowledge of where the light of the sky had gone. There is no true night, but there is no true day, and the Titans, demanding ever-increasing sacrifices in payment for their deed, offer no answers. My dearest Previn, I regret to tell you that I will not be home from this visit as soon as I had thought. My healing services will be needed here for some time as a terrible thing has happened to this small village. 2 nights ago, as I had just finished my evening rituals, I heard a horrible commotion from the town square. I ran out to see what the trouble was, only to find the town overrun by trolls. The trolls had come in search of their favorite meal, human children. From house to house they went, ripping doors off and brushing aside the men as if they were no more than flies. Mothers wailed as babes were torn from their breasts, and fathers cried in anguish as one by one their children were eaten alive. Piristävää teksti. The bloody procession went on, and I fear the screams and sobs will ring in my darkest dreams forever. And then a miracle occurred. From the final house came not a cry of torment, but one of victory. We raced down the street to the house. We found the inside strewn with the bodies of the trolls, and there in the middle stood Netra, a young woman who had just given birth a few days before. She had her newborn clutched in one arm, in the other was a magnificent silver sword. She told us Thaddeus? Tuossa on varmaan kirjoitusvirhe. She told that as the trolls burst in, she had grabbed the only weapon she had, a knitting needle, and had cried out to Stratus to protect her child. Instantly, in answer to her plea, the great Stratus turned the needle into a magnificent sword. She said the sword fairly danced in her hand, slaying the trolls left and right until none were left alive. While I can find some solace in the miracle Stratus performed, I am afraid the task ahead of me is almost overwhelming. I do what I can to ease the hurts, but wounds of the mind Stratus gives no power to heal. I will stay until I have done all I can. Then I will carry the sword, now called Protector, to Agenfrock Isle. There I will prepare a small shrine for it in the catacombs beneath the monastery.
Okei. Vaihda teepaitaa. En huomenna vasta. Eikö siis tänään illemmalla? Se kokenut suihkus taas jälleen. Ei kiitoksia. Kiitoksia Kasu hostista ja raidista. Voi vittu morjens. Kuin sekaisin voi olla tähän kelloaikaan enää jo. Ei perkele. Mutta morjesta vaan Kiikor, Skaimi, Veivi, Shadowheartti, Finlandin, Porssu, Gold Coin, Aatune, Hekeke, Allu ja Muovipullo ja Käem. Käemikin mä sanoin 2 kertaa, mutta ei mitään. Morjesta vaan Kasu. Kiitoksia tosiaan raidista. Vähän myöhäs kans. Ihan sama. Ihan sama, onko se myöhäs vai ei. Okei. Mitäs? Ensi kerralla sit vaihdat heti alkuun paina. Vai pelaanko mä ilman paitaa? Sekin on vaihtoehto. I do miss you, my love, and ask that you watch over our dear little Stellas until I can return. It is sad his mother must be away from him so soon after his birth, but I must serve where I am needed. I am sure you understand. All my love, Verus. Wow. Okei. Sen mä olin lukenut Saga of Bone Crusher. Herran jumala, tässä on paljon kirjoja.
Mitä vittua sä duunat?
En mä tiedä, Allu. Luen paljon asioita. The Saga of Bone Crusher. And so it was in the early days of Pagan that the Titan of Earth, Lithus, declared that all who lived upon his land should pay homage to him. With his mighty earthquakes, he demanded that the people of Tenebrae bow to him, lest he shake their houses down around them. But mighty Lithus said, the Lord Elsmil, the Tempest, we are under the guidance of Hydrus. From her we receive the rain for the crops and the fish for our table. We cannot bow to you. This greatly angered Lithus, and to punish the people of Tenebrae, he sent a great army of undead skeletons to slaughter them. Lord Elsmil went to Hydrus. Please, he begged her, the people of your city are being slain by the minions of your brother. Lithus, we must have your help. Hydrus heard the plea of her Tempest and gave to him a mighty hammer. You shall have this weapon called Bone Crusher, and with it defeat the minions of Lithus, she said. When Lord Elsmil arrived back at the battle, it was going poorly for the Tenebraeans. They were fighting bravely, but were outnumbered 2-1 by the undead. Lord Elsmil left out the mighty roar and waded into the carnage wielding the mighty Bone Crusher. The skeletons fell before him like trees, and the tide of the battle was turned. By evening, the last of the skeletons were being hunted down in the woods, and the town of Tenebrae was saved. However, Lord Elsmil was missing. The Tenebraeans began to look for him. They finally found his crushed body on the battlefield, but the wondrous Bone Crusher was nowhere to be seen. Hillittömät määrät typoi. They looked for it for many days and nights, but did not find it. Though several of the searchers found the prints of bony feet in the soft dirt of the western forest, by the looks of the prints, they said the skeletons were dragging something heavy behind. A few of the searchers even say they caught a glimpse of the bony white and the glint of light of something gold. To this day, intrepid treasure hunters continue to look for the hammer called Bone Crusher. Läntisessä metsässä. Onko tässä oikeasti mukaan metsä? Mä vähän luulen, että ei ole tässä pelissä mitään metsiä. Te joskus mustavalko lähetys 30-luvun tyyli, jossa sulla on pitkä poplinitakki ja siellä Frank Sinatra hatto päässä. Ei löydy kumpaakaan. Ei löydy kumpaakaan. Sillä sä saisit multa korkeimman arvostuksen, mitä maapäällään kantaa. Joo, mutta mä en rupea hommaamaan mitään Tips Fedora-hattua. Ei se sopi mulle. No sen on kyllä kokeillut pahemmin hattoja, mutta niin. Ei kyllä. Toi olikin toi kirja, joo. The silmä. Oh my god. Osta, Dear Watson. En osta. Ei ole kauhean suurella prioriteetilla. Mulla on rahalle tärkeämpääkin käyttöä kuin jonkun poplinitakin ja hatunnosta.
Kuten laskujen maksu ja ruoan maksaminen, tai ruoan ostaminen. Siinä on kaksi niin tosi tärkeää asiaa, mitä mä kumminkin haluan tehdä. Minulla on Mauri ase. Mullakin on housuissa. Eye of the Boulder, the runes of the Myth Trainer. My love, my life, my doom. I began my search for the eye shortly after my 19th year, while still in training with the necromancers. Had I known at that young age what would befell me upon the completion of my undertaking, I would have spent my days differently, seeking companionship over mystic power, warm love rather than cold stone. But my desire for the eye was all-consuming. It is said to have been found at the heart of an otherworldly chunk of rock, perhaps a part of some ancient tool or weapon that fell from the sky during a time when godlike beings fought for dominance of this world and the worlds beyond. The eye was later sundered into half a dozen finely chiseled runestones by the Liege Lord, referred to in some texts as the Drainer of Myths. The subsequent details concerning the runestones and their uses became the events of legend, as tempests and heroes for the possession of the pieces of the eye. Though it took many years, it was I who finally managed to collect all the pieces. And with each part of the eye that I added to my collection, my power grew, enabling me to recover successive pieces with greater ease. Obsessively, I laid the groundwork during those years of searching, preparing for the time when I could finally reintegrate the 6 disc-like pieces of the eye. On the day of completion, once I had enacted the last of the rituals, my primary apprentice and I fitted the eye directly into the freshly carved socket at the base of my skull, linking the mystic stone's energies with those of my own nervous system. Only then did I learn that the eye's sorcerer's operations were antithetical? Antithetical to my own. Ei toi varmaan F-kään ole, toi on pakko olla T. Antithetical, ei semmonenkaan voi olla Fefikal. Immediately its dire effects became apparent. My memory and other mental faculties grew weaker, the images I beheld lost resolution, and the sounds around me began to seem like bland reproductions. I left my hidden tower staggering forward at a grueling pace, one step at a time. And since then, the events of my days have seemed the tired tellings of a poor storyteller, and all I have wanted is release. I am ashamed to have wasted so much time and so many of my resources upon such a disappointing thing. I sought nothing less than the ultimate, but instead received only a pale reflection, a hint of what could have been. Mä taidan tästä juoda vielä 2-3 olutta, kattoo kilttiä prossia ja sit kohisimaan. Hyvät työt kaikille, hyvät uudet vuodet, mikäli huomenna ei tuu enää lähetystä. Pitäkää lippu korkealle ja huolta itsestänne, jos sullekin hyvät uudet vuodet. Nonni, ei mitään Mirorontti. Pidä itsestäsi huolta. Nähdään vuonna 2021. Koska syyt? Koska syyt? Mäkin karkan tästä nukkumaan, eli se on morops täältäkin. Joo, ei mitään. En mä tässä aio kun logenaa kirjaston kirjat loppuun ja laittaa pillit pussiin, että jatkaa sitten noin Tenebrain ja näiden muiden nurkkien metsästys sitten joku toinen kerta. Bändivasariset iskeekin, on voimat marjat, kyllä. Kyllä, tää on tämmöstä. Mähän lupasin. Tää menee nyt 5 nimeä jo bänniin. Nanta tuo! Arvo näkee suomalaista striimaa, jolla on noin hyvä englannin aksentti. Itselle tuo englanti tuntuu luonnollisemmalle, niin on kivempi kuunnella englantia. Hyvä. No kai se nyt jollain tavalla menettelee. Mä en oo ite kauhean tyytyväinen vieläkään. Tosin, niin, mä nyt katon sillä kantilla, koska mä olen menettänyt liian monta ääniroolia aikoinaan siihen, että koska mä kuulostan kuulemma ihan romanialaiselta vampyyriltä. Lainausmerkeissä romanialaiselta vampyyriltä. Mä olen niin aina vähän ollut semmoinen, että oh fuck. Honor lost by Meltzer's the Troll. Hetkinen. Tämähän oli toi sama kirja, mikä tuolla yläkerrassakin oli. Voi vittu, pääsin helpommalla. Raumalaiset vampyyrit. No se olisi kyllä varmaan jonkun näköinen kehu. Ei tuo kyllä mitään rallienkku ole, joten hyvä se on sulla. The Big Book of Adventure. Tämäkin oli yläkerrassa. Kaksi kirjaa jäljellä. Sitten voi pistää Billy in the Bushy and go to eat riisipuuro. Many are the rumors of the magical and the supernatural which exist outside of the Titanic magic. Now, of course, any reasonable person knows that any such thing is nonsense. Any thinking person must know that the Titans are the only magic in the world. However, in the interest of fairness, for any who may doubt that the true magic is held only by the Titans, I have investigated 3 well-known reported cases of magical occurrences. Tos puuttuu yksi C. That fall outside of the Titanic influence. The first episode of magic which I investigated was an inaugural occurrence. Tuossa on 2 C taas siis uudestaan. Oi vittu. In which a woman who lives outside of Tenebrae who claimed to know something about a ghost who had some magic capabilities. The woman's name is Kilandra, and she makes her living as a fisherwoman. Let me assure all that this woman knows nothing of the supernatural. In fact, Kilandra knows virtually nothing at all. Quite frankly, I found this woman to be completely mad. She would ramble on constantly about her daughter to the point where I began to believe that her daughter does not even exist. All of the outlandish stories about her daughter could not apply to just one person. Therefore, in my expert opinion, the daughter is purely fictional. Anything else that Kilandra had to talk about were things that the fish told her. Kala puhuu hänellä. Okei, ei siinä mitään sit. Therefore, it is perfectly clear that the woman is completely mad and anything that she has to say cannot be believed. The second event which many people have reported as magical are the mysterious lights of the plateau. Very few people have even reported having seen these, yet the lights have lived on in pagan lore for a very long time. Many people believe that these lights are some sort of magic which is generated some unknown force of nature. Others believe these lights to be some sort of magical energy which is created by the hermit that lives upon the plateau. Such opinions are, of course, the result of people spreading unsubstantiated rumors without looking into basic facts. I have disproven the myth that these lights even exist by doing what others simply would do. I took the leisurely stroll up to the plateau and investigated things myself. I walked up to the plateau, which, by the way, is a lovely walk that I recommend everyone to at least once. Once at the plateau, I met with the old hermit who lives there. Now, I must say that this was the most difficult part of my investigation. This old man, Mithrin, is his name, was a gruff, unfriendly fellow. This Mithrin has nothing to do but lay about all day long, yet getting him to answer my questions was like pulling teeth from a troll. He spoke to me in short, sharp sentences which he virtually spit into my face. And the worst thing of all is that this silly old man thought that he knew more of the world than I did. Well, I did manage to get Mithrin to assure me that there were no magical lights that dance about upon the plateau. I am sure that he would not lie to me, as I am employed by the Lady Mordea, and therefore carry her influence. The third instance of magic which I have disproven beyond the shadow of a doubt is the alleged existence of a magical axe called Deceiver. This axe is supposed to be found on a small island off of Stone Cove. The island, which cannot be seen by land, is supposed to be reached by stones which rise above the water. Taidan kirjoittaa ton ylös. Magical axe called the Deceiver is supposed to be found off Stone Cove. Onko sit se paikka? No joo, no se sit näkee. It can be reached by stones which rise above the water. Mä vielä nauran, jos ne jotain niinku semmosia kiviä, jotka niinku nousee ylös ja menee alas. Kunnon tasohyppely helvettiin. Jee, Super Avatar Bros. Jee. Sitä mä päässyt vielä kokemaan tän streamin aikaa, mutta jonain päivänä. On se sitten vielä tänä vuonna tai ensi vuonna, sen sit näkee. Only to sink again in a matter of the moments. Ei, sit se tuli siellä vitu, ei, se pilas mun, heti meni fiilikset pilalle. Ei perkele. Joo, kyllä mä tiedän, että tässä on kiviä, jotka menee ylös ja alas, ja sitten on platformeja, jotka menee sinne sun tänne ja kaikkea muuta. Tässä tulee oikeasti tasohyppely helvetti tästä pelistä. En odota innolla. As I had no intention of going through those awful catacombs, I sailed to Stone Cove to investigate. I can assure one and all that there is no island off of Stone Cove, and there certainly is no magical axe, nor did I see any rising and sinking stones. Of course, the stones were the only plausible part of this ridiculous story. I did think it quite possible for the lurker to create just such a thing so that she may amuse herself. So, there you have it, dear reader, irrefutable proof that there is no magic in the world other than that which the Titans have chosen to create. I realize that this book may take a little bit of fantasy out of some people's daily lives, but if we are to better serve Our Lady, we must all live in the here and now. The Mythology of the Sealand Deities by Uredin the Scholar. Throughout the ages, our people have looked beyond themselves to find the answers to the many mysteries of life. Today we know that the Titans, masters of the four elements, control our destinies and direct many forces that affect our lives. However, such was not always the case. Our Zealand forebears know not of the power of the Titans. Instead, they worship the common emotions. Not realizing that feelings are popular sensations experienced by all people, the Zealands elevated the three primary emotions, love, hate, and apathy, to the ranks of deities. The goddess of love they named Amorous, giving her the powers of nurturing happiness. To the one called Odeon, the Zealands attributed the emotions of hate and grief, giving him the role of warrior and protector. To stand between them, our ancestors assigned the role of arbiter and balance of Apathus, ruler of indifference. Even older texts indicate that the Zealands initially believed in not 3, but 6 such deities. In addition to the rulers of love, hate, and apathy, Felicita controlled joy, Dolores ruled grief, and Timura was the patron of fear. Though anthropomorphic in nature, some of them had animalistic features, such as Dolores and his thorax head. Through time, however, the Zealands found it difficult and inconvenient to pay homage to so many gods and goddesses, so they elected to combine the aspects into 3. A confusing aspect of Zealand gods serves to display the fickle nature of our ancestors' beliefs. The Zealands believe that while the deities ruled the emotions, they were also subject to them. Did I hear titties? Joo, mun pitäis kulma striimaa ilman paitaa. Hyvää iltaa Vaspyrge. Tai yötä oikeastaan, mitä tää nyt on? The more Zealands who experience a particular feeling, the stronger the deity's power grew. Conversely, discarded emotions, however temporary, meant a weakened deity. Deity. Forcing some to enter near catatonic states until they gained true followers to re-emerge. Thus, an improbable cycle took place. As Odeon planted the seed of hate within one of his subjects, and as that seed grew and took root in other warriors, Odeon would become more powerful, spreading the hatred even further. Though most Zealands believed they had contact with their gods through their thoughts and emotions, only the priests and a select few were allowed to speak directly to them. The Zealands constructed great mountainside temples housing guarded shrines to the 3 or 6 patrons. Several labyrinths were excavated and filled with deadly traps. Secret passages were made for the priests to enter, while the few Zealands who dared to seek an audience with the gods were forced to overcome the foils of the dungeons. Tultiin viskelee pavuilla. Morjes vaan Remover, Nookku, Jontte, Mörkö ja Vipleri. Morjes vaan. Kyllähän nyt pitää pavuilla vähän viskoa. Koska Guardiani on perseestä. Ja morjes vaan Headveno. Hai. Secret passages were made for the priests to enter, while the few Zealans who dared to seek an audience with the gods were forced to overcome the foils of the dungeons. Many died trying, few succeeded. Once before the Zealand deities, the worshipper still had to present one of the ancient seals before gaining permission to speak. These seals were round shields of wrought metal embossed into a triad of sections, one depicting a reddish scimitar, another showing an open palm displaying a heart, and the third revealing an image of balanced scales. Having passed through the test of the great shrines and offered the appropriate icon, a Zealand follower would then be allowed to pray for a boon from one or all of the gods. Regardless of whether the plea was heeded, considerable sacrifices of animals and valuables were required. Rarely did these acts lead to any benefit, though some stories claim that the legendary Kumash Gore first conferred with his patrons before he was able to unify the warring tribes. There is much to be learned from studying the mythology of the past, although we know today that the powers of the Titans are, unlike the deities of our forebears, quite real. We can learn much about the violent and emotional personalities of our ancestors. Fascinating. Hyvä, kun joku tyyppi vaan huutaa tulla, että fascinating. No ei vitun kevät. I must make a note of this. Terve Pentik. Morjes Mauri. Mites sinä voit? Minä olen melkein aika hyvin. Minä voin aika hyvin. Tiedäisitkö, että kun minä viimeksi näin sinut, minä olen nyt hieman lukenut asioita ja sitten... I am more certain now that my name does stem from the ancient Ventak, as I also found one very old reference where it was spelled Bentak. Now that the interesting point is that I did some research on your name and found that in one case it actually comes from the very old pagan word for champion. Or, a better translation, avatar. Ai, Mauri tarkoittaa avataria. Vai niin, mielenkiintoista. Mitä sinä teet? By trade I am the librarian of the city, however I prefer to think of myself... Tää oli tää nyt, puhuu taas noita asioita. Se äsken tarjosi jotain kirjaa, mutta... Nyt se ei tarjosta mulla enää ollenkaan. Oh no. What are you reading? Nyt se tulee tuossa. What do you do? What are you reading? I'm so glad you asked. This is a treatise on the world of Pagan. It covers the idiosyncrasies of the various lands and people of our world. From the first chapter it takes an in-depth look at what motivates the people of this world and challenges the reader to make up his own mind about the condition of this world in which we live. Perhaps you would like to read it. Who is the author? Well, you see, I am. Okay. I knew you were a well-read person who appreciates fun literature. Perhaps after you have read it we could get together and discuss your opinion of it. I hope you enjoy it. Antaako se mulla oikeesti joku kirjan kantoa vai? Oh no, Chronicle of Pagan. Se jää kyllä seuraavaan kertaan. Puhutaan Chronicle of Pagan sitten seuraavalla kerralla. Vrite Diary. Muista lukea. Chronicle of Pagan. Artsin fantasiat oluesta. Se mahtus se...
Britannia succumbs easily. Soon all the land will be mine.
Kiva tietää Guardian. Hyvä, kun tuo Guardiani kuulostaa hiukan erilaiset tässä pelissä kuin aikaisemmin. Joo, eiköhän se ollut ihan tarpeeksi. Saatiin ainakin se Serpentaille loppuun tämän vuoden puolella, mä oon ihan tyytyväinen. Se oli mun tavoite. Tämän vuoden puolella Ultima 7 loppuu. Siihen meni ihan vitusti liikaa aikaa. Jee! Jatketaan Paganaa joskus myöhemmin. Koska Paganana. Paganana. Jossu antaa mulle fistiä kohta puolinen jebe. Ei varmaan nähdä ensi vuonna eikä enää tässä elämässä.
Mä en tiedä mikä siinä on. Mä tein tän. Ärsytät. Vaivoja. Töitä.
Mauri is fucking dead. No, ei se mitään. Jos ei nähdä tämän vuoden puolella, niin oikein mukavaa alkavaa vuosikymmentä ja toivottavasti teillä on mukavaa uuden vuoden aatto ja kaikkea muuta kivaa asioita. Jos mulla ei nyt ihan hirvittävä keuhkokuume, persereikä, syöpä ja mitään muuta järkevää tässä voikaan tulla kulkutautina vielä tämän vuoden puolella, niin voi olla, että huomenna voisi ehkä tätäkin jatkaa, että pääsee näkemään, että minkälaista helvettiä se tasohyppely on, mutta en nyt sitten sano mitään, että tuleeko maanantain puolelle mitään. Kyllä mä sitten huutelen, että tulkaa katsomaan kuin Paganana. Ai vitu. Mä sain niin turpaan niin tässä. Ei mitään. Kiitoksia edelleen Kassuvarille raidista, monelle tyypille hostista. Ja mä en tiedä, että oliko removerit ja nämä muut, jotka tässä joukossa tuli, Nookku, Jontte, Mörkö, Vipleri, Hedvenu, niin oliko sielläkin joku raidi, mutta taas jostain syystä toi asiat ei toimi. Mutta joka tapauksessa kiitos heillekin. Muises gracias. Ei mitään. Kohti seuraavaa vuosikymmentä. Olkoon se parempi kuin edellinen. Nähdään ehkä maanantain puolella tai sitten ei. Katellaan. Se on Hölön Kölöns Mölöns.